Obviously, we're still talking about this Harry and Meghan documentary. Everyone's talking about it. I still haven't seen all 3 episodes, so I'm not...
Have you seen the first 3?
I've seen the first 3, and then I've seen, like, 3/4 of the next one. I wanted to watch it last night, then I fell asleep. What did you make of it, Gyles?
Everyone's talking about it, except the members of the British royal family.
They're not?
They're the people who are not talking about it. There was a beautiful service yesterday at Westminster Abbey celebrating people who have given service, saying thank you to people who have been carers and givers, people who've done service this year. It was organised by the new Princess of Wales, planned a couple of months ago, and all the invitations were sent out quite a long time ago. The King came with the Queen Consort. All sorts of members of the royal family came. Beatrice and Eugenie were there.
Sarah Phillips.
Yeah. The younger generation.
I should say, Tyndall.
The cousins, as it were, of Harry were there. It was a very happy event. And there was a speech given by the Prince of Wales, and he referred back to one of the Queen's Christmas broadcasts of about 10 years ago, where she talked about the importance of togetherness, all coming together at Christmas. Again, actually, that was chosen quite a while ago. So this was a show of unity in the UK, not planned as a counterblast against the icy winds coming in from sunny California, but it did actually illustrate that the show goes on here.
The show goes on.
And my instinct is that the Harry and Meghan thing is about Harry and Meghan. And I say...
It's their story.
It's their story, and fair enough. Truth. They've clearly been burning to say all this for a couple of years. They've said it now, and my hope is that come Christmas, or come the new year when his book is out, after that, they can then move on from this.
2 questions, though, for both of you. Knowing what you know about the royal family and, Carol, all your years in broadcasting, do you think they'll have watched it? As in, do you think they'll have...
I know they won't have watched it. I don't know about the younger generation.
You know they won't have watched
I'm sure that the King has not watched it. The King watches very little television. He's a workaholic. He has a variety of passions in his life. TV...
No, but still, if you know this is out there, would you not be... Just out of curiosity, would you not want to see
I would watch my son's documentary.
I suppose that in order to see what he's saying...
Oh, 1,000,000% I would watch my son's documentary.
6 hours, you give it?
Yeah, of course, my son.
OK.
Yeah. I'm surprised that you said he's definitely not going to watch.
Well, I can't picture him sitting in front of a television for that long.
Really?
I don't think he's ever
It's a long
sat
time,
in front
Alison.
of a television that long.
Yeah,
Ever.
that's true.
Ever.
What do you think, Carol?
Well, I've watched 3 episodes last week because we were on the sofa. I've watched 3 episodes yesterday. 6 hours of my life I can never get back.
I see.
And I did think...
Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it?
What didn't you like about it?
Right. The bits that I liked, so the first 3 episodes, I'm fairly neutral about it. I'm not even that interested in them, to be honest.
You love love.
Yeah, I do love love.
It's interesting, because you don't really have any skin in the game.
I'm not really like, whatever, I didn't watch the wedding. I'm kind of, well, I'm going to do this because we want to talk about it. So I'm fairly neutral. And then last week, I thought, well, you know, fair enough, she's bright and they have their point. The 3 episodes yesterday, it's like, really? You're banging on about this and you're banging on about that and nobody's life is perfect. I got angry at one point, very angry. Not about anything they particularly said about the royal family, but more a rejection of the whole concept that all of us, everybody watching, everybody here was going through lockdowns and COVID, but it wasn't... There was no generosity of spirit, I felt, towards those who have also suffered. I just felt
it was a sense of privilege there?
I did feel that. I felt there was a sense of being spoiled and overprivileged. That's genuinely what I felt, yeah.
A little bit about Nottingham Cottage, where they first lived, which was given to Harry as a bachelor pad. And they rather sort of complained about it being small when he's so tall, and how they were... You know, a friend of theirs came round. Can you believe it? We live in this tiny cottage. I've actually been in Nottingham Cottage. It's not that small. It was given to him as a bachelor pad. He wanted her to move in. It's actually a beautiful place in heart of Kensington.
I think what they were referring to, though, is the fact that they, you know, everyone saw that they were living in Kensington Palace, but they wanted to show people that it's actually quite a small little pad. It was only small.
I'm like Carol, I don't really have any skin in the game here at all.
No,
but it did feel slightly tone-deaf, that part of the show, when people are, you know, are literally... You know, but it's just around the corner.
That doesn't worry me. I don't think we need to sit in judgment on it. I think we can accept this is their story, this is their view. There has clearly been pain. I mean, we have to remember that Harry, who, as my son-in-law keeps saying to me, they were in the army together in Afghanistan, is a really good guy. This is a good guy. So, and we loved him. And indeed, when they came together, we loved the fact that she was coming into the family. We all loved the wedding.
You can never argue with someone's own personal experience.
Exactly. So I accept all that. I'm interested to hear that and see that. I don't think it affects what happens here at all. It makes me understand the Queen even more. You know, the Queen, as we remember, our late Queen, driven by duty, sustained by faith, kept happy by her horses and her dogs, because they never told stories. They didn't make docu-series. They were just there, being happy companions all her life. She could say anything to them, and it never went any further.
But Giles, you're a continuity guy. You know, you're a royalist and you're a continuity guy. What's interesting is maybe not Prince Charles, but when King Charles, but when Prince William sees the throne, will there still be, do you think, that mantra of never complain, never explain, or do you think by then it will be slightly
I think the
relaxed?
reason there will be is that it serves them well.
Yeah.
I mean, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh survived 70 years, and there was all this talk and gossip about them. In the film yesterday was, I think it was Meghan, who was being felt that the press was being intrusive when their baby was born wanting pictures. Well, the Queen felt exactly the same way back in 1948 when Prince Charles was born, and there were no photographs issued immediately, and the name wasn't given. And a rumour then was rife. Is the child deformed? Why aren't they telling us? Show us your baby. And the Queen was thinking, it's my newborn baby. Why should I have photographs? So she was feeling much as Meghan was feeling. And I think and in fact, in fairness to them, they didn't say that the Queen ever complained. I think the Queen had real affection for Meghan and wanted well for them.
What about inconsistencies? It kind of goes into the second stories. Do you think there's any inconsistencies with regards to the journalists and things like that?
Because obviously the vast majority of the 6 hours is an attack on the press, and they have some very valid points about paparazzi and so on. I mean, you know, all of us to some degree have been through that to a minute element. But obviously today the press are having a go back, and they're going through and picking out a lot of inconsistencies. And if you're going to come out with a strong story, whatever your story might be, please check that you're not saying one thing back in March when you were on Oprah, whenever it was, and now you're saying something else. So obviously the press they do have skin in the game in this one, and they want to counter it. So, yeah, there are inconsistencies.
I mean, there's one example here that we've noted, that Meghan and Harry, they implied that Prince William had given permission to their PR chief, Jason Knauf, to give evidence in Meghan's case against the Mail on Sunday over its decision to publish a letter she'd written to her father, Thomas Markle. But Jason Knauf, who was their former PR chief, rejected that claim that he gave evidence against Meghan to a court with the authority of Prince William. So he is saying what they're implying isn't true. But this is detail. They've got their view, and that's what they're giving us.
Yeah, and a lot of people are trying to discredit what they're saying.
Yes. Oh,
because
absolutely.
you can't take away, when they showed the comparison pictures of Kate and Meghan, you can't take away that. It was completely different journalism.
Oh, God, I mean, the avocado story and the baby
story. You can't, I mean, anyone who says, oh, no, I don't see it, I don't believe.
But I think we did welcome her warmly, with open arms, with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
I don't know when it began to turn, but I think it turned also in their head a great deal.
Yeah.
There was the story that they told about Remembrance Sunday. In fact, it was the Royal Albert Hall the night before Remembrance Sunday, and the Queen and all the royal family was there, and they implied that the Queen was jealous that a picture of Harry and Meghan appeared on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. Now, that is the Queen's paper, so she would have seen that. But I don't think she would have been for a moment jealous. She'd been on the front pages of newspapers since 1926. She was not counting her cuttings. So some of the things that were said were absurd, but it's their view. And well done. You've said your say.
I think that's really important to remember that as well. It's their truth, and you have to respect their truth.
Yeah.
And we can learn things from it. We can actually learn how a different generation, a different culture, sees things in a different way. So I hope everybody is absorbing it, not necessarily talking about it, and then moving on. And I really want them to move on, because they have committed themselves to doing good work. And from everything I know about Harry and all I've seen of Meghan, they've got a great capacity for spreading goodwill and doing good things. So basically, less about them now, maybe, and more about the world outside.
The worry, though, Giles, is that the biography is going to come out next year.
Well, the biography is coming out called Spare, which is ominous, but also we ended on the bit about the Daily Mail and the court case, not on what's happened this year, which was the Platinum Jubilee when they came, and also the very, very sad death of Her Majesty the Queen, and everything that followed, and the four of them walking out together out of Windsor Castle, as they did, dressed in black. None of that was in this. And
well, maybe they could add some episodes.
Well, maybe there's a series too.
You never know. You never know.
And that's where you just think, oh, God, here we go.
I mean, there's a lot more to talk about.